I've been talking about having Scooby as a cellie, and I'm realizing that I still have a lot of stories to tell about the time period whenever Blanky was my cellie. You see, I always tended to subdivide my time in my head based upon who my cellie was, just because you spend so much time with this guy. When program's running smoothly, it's 14, 16 hours a day, but when you're locked down, it's 24 hours a day. So if I'm ever unsure as to exactly when an event occurred, where to start a story, I can ask myself, well, who was my cellie at this time? And then say, whenever this event occurred, such and such was my cellie. Whenever I went to my first committee at High Desert State Prison, Blanky was my cellie. It happened just a week or two after I arrived at the institution. Your Institutional Classification Committee, ICC, is where the administration will meet to determine the specifics of your program. It'll be the captain of the yard, the counselors, and any staff members that they feel should attend. If, for instance, you had a history of mental illness, they would likely have a psychiatrist in attendance, or at the very least have one review the findings of the committee. The function of the committee, the reason that they're there and the reason that you sit in front of them, is for them to evaluate your case factors. The captain read out how many custody points I had, what privilege group I was, what crimes I came to prison for, how much time I had to serve. He's just reading these things off of a form, but it sets the stage for the conversation that's going to be had about my future. The primary purpose of this committee is your housing placement, what building you'll be placed in, even what yard you'll be placed in. They can move you from one place in an institution to another if necessary. And also what job you'll end up with. They're going to pick a job and put you on a waiting list for it. I had a primary concern this committee, and that had to do with my college education. I had read in the rules that if I was a full-time college student, which I could achieve by correspondence, that could count as a job. The administration would have the discretion to say that I was working because I was doing full-time college. So near the end of the committee, whenever the captain asked, Mr. Channel, regarding the issue of job placement, do you have any information you feel the committee should be aware of before we move on? I went ahead and answered the question. They had asked this question a couple of different ways regarding things like what prison I wanted to be at or whether I wanted to attend certain vocational training. But each time I'd answered, they'd kind of just written down whatever they were going to do anyway and noted that I had said something. I didn't feel that what I said had impacted their decision, just at all. But this time I took a chance. I said, Sir, I'm aware that the Title 15 says that if I'm attending college as a full-time student, which I intend to do via correspondence in the next couple of months, this can count as a full-time job and I can receive Privilege Group A at the discretion of the administration. I was wondering if you could advise me as to how to set that up. He thought for just one moment, and it was obvious that this was a prepared speech. He'd probably said it 100 times. Mr. Channel, your case is not special. There will be no accommodations made for you. We will pick a job for you, and you will do it. You won't have a job before we pick a job for you. We'll pick the job that we think is appropriate for you, and you won't start working until that happens. Okay? I saw an opportunity for a joke, and I've often found that you can break the ice in an awkward social situation with a joke. So I said, gee, I have to work, but you don't have to pay me, and if I don't work I can be punished severely. Is that right? And he got just the smallest amount standoffish and said, yes, that is correct. And I said, I'm not complaining, I just thought there was a different word for that. One of the counselors openly laughed, and the captain kind of chuckled a little bit. And I saw an opportunity to maybe set myself apart from other inmates, to have this not be such a pro forma function, and maybe interact with them as a human being. I said, hey Captain, do you mind if I pitch something? I'll be quick. And he said, yeah, sure, Channel, whatever, here, just hurry up. And I told him, look, this administration area back here where you have all of the clerks and the secretaries working, This is the job you should pick for me. I don't know what jobs you have back here, but I type 100 words a minute. I can take dictation at speaking pace. I got a 140 IQ. If there's something that needs to be done back here, I can learn how to do it. And I'm familiar with administrative forms, tasks. Heck, I have mouse certification. It's not active, but I've passed the test and I can do it again. I should be a clerk or a secretary or something like that. I guess I laid it on a little thick because he scoffed. Well, gee, don't we think we're special? You know that you're sleeping in a cell every night like every other person in this institution, right? Yeah, I know when to cut my losses. I changed my body language. I put my head down a little bit. And so I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to waste your time. I was just hoping to get a good job. I'll shut up. And I did. For the rest of the committee, it was nothing but yes, sir, no, sir, out of me. You know, they say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That if you want something, you have to speak up. In my experience, most of the time, it's better to shut up. The smart thing for me to do here would have been to just keep my mouth shut, let them make whatever decisions they were going to make, and then try to undo the damage after I was out of that room. Because it was clear that they'd already made the decisions before I walked into that room. There was nothing I could say to help myself, so the only thing I was going to do by talking was hurt myself. We've all done it. Flapped our gums for just that extra second or two whenever we knew that it would have been smart to just shut up. But it's human nature whenever you have something that you're planning on saying, you want to be heard. The next time in life that you encounter a situation where you know that it might be wiser just to be quiet, well, I don't know, you do the right thing, of course, whatever that may be. But before you open your mouth, do remember, you can't take words back. Once they're out there, they're out there. You can take as long as you want deciding what you're going to say, but once it's said, it's said. So before you speak, you just take that extra moment. Make sure that the thing you're about to say is the thing that you want to have said, or else you're going to spend your whole life wishing you had just kept your mouth shut.